Happy New Year, guys! I hope you all had a great journey into 2020. Today we are having a little bit of a tech-related video. If you want to step up your video making game from handheld phone or camera shooting, one of the first things you probably need to buy is some kind of stick or a tripod. Especially for vloggers, a mini tripod is probably the way to go, as it gives you some extra reach, stabilization and security while holding your camera, and on top of that it also gives you the option to put the camera down, or if it's flexible, to attach it to all kinds of things. This market segment was dominated by Joby and its Gorillapods for the longest times, but today I'm going to show you some options that are not only way cheaper but potentially even better. So the first category I want to talk about is bendy tripods. Bendy because you can bend their legs, just like this. And those are basically direct competitors to Joby's Gorillapod 1K or 3K. And as a general suggestion, you should be very careful with the stated load limits of all of these tripods. Even with the Joby Gorillapods, I think they overstate that by quite a bit. But with the cheaper ones, which are often manufactured in China or whatever, it is even worse. So if it says this thing can hold up to 6 pounds, most likely it's just a fraction of that. So do not trust those numbers. This is the first one I've ever bought. I bought this on Amazon Germany and it's from the Empow brand. However, there are different manufacturers out there that do the same thing. You can basically just go by the picture and they have the exact same tripod from all kinds of brands. So this thing is bendy, but the difference between the cheap bendy ones and the Gorillapod ones is that the Gorillapod has these ball parts and joints really to it, while these are always just a long metal stick which is bendy, and then it's just covered with some kind of rubber or some nicer to touch material. The good thing about this one is it has a quick release button, but this quick release button, you really just have to press these things slightly and it comes off, and that could also be a liability. I would never suggest anybody to put a real camera on that, even though if they might state that that is possible. For super light loads like a smartphone, this is okay. This thing claims to handle a load limit up to 2 pounds, and I think that's just a joke. A phone is 150 to 200 gram, I think, and I would really not put much more on this than that. The second one I want to show is a very famous one on Amazon too. Again, they have a couple of different brands that do this exact same one. I actually bought 2 of these on the German Amazon, and they were called Coolway Octopus and Mantona Armadillo. Actually, the second one is here. I have a light on it. It's also quite nice for that. It only took me a second to find it on the US Amazon. It was called Tyrode 12-inch bendable something tripod. This one is a little sturdier, and I actually put the camera on there a lot. Our M50 with a lens which is below 2 pounds, kind of a smaller rig, but a real camera. So overall it's a little sturdier. However, I noticed the plastic ball head construction and this quick release plate and then the bendy legs, it overall gives a little bit. And if you walk around filming, it's not the best build quality or the sturdiest construction. I would maybe trust this up to 2 pounds or something like that. And it is bendy, and I think this is a real alternative to the Gorillapods if you need the bendy legs. With those types of bendy legs though, they will weaken over time and they will ultimately break. And over the last 2 years, I noticed that I'm not bending it, attaching it to rails or stuff a lot. So I was looking for something better. And that brings me to this mini tripod category, which are not bendable and yeah, have stiff legs and ball heads included. And if you just look for a better handle for your camera and the option to put it down, I would recommend this category over the bendy ones. The household name here is the Manfrotto Pixie, which is super high on sales on all the shops. It looks exactly like this one. This one though is a knockoff. I actually ordered a Manfrotto Pixie before, but I had to send it back. There's also Joby, who does one like these called the HandyPod. So the Joby HandyPod is basically the same thing as the Manfrotto Pixie. And there are many knockoffs as well. However, they all have the same issue. And to demonstrate that big issue, I have to switch to my phone camera for a second. Alright, so we're on my smartphone for a second. I hope the quality is not too bad. Anyway, look at this. This is the Canon M50 with the 11 to 22 millimeter lens. Typical vlog setup. This weighs around 700 gram. And the big issue is this. There you go. The problem really is the ball head strength. You have this quick release button here, which you can press to move it around, and then supposedly it should stay in place, but I'm not even pressing the button. And look how easy I can move the camera around. There's really not enough ball head strength around here to hold the camera in place. And with the Manfrotto Pixie and the Joby Handypod, it is really like the lottery. Some people get ones with very good ball head strength, and some people even use full frame cameras on it, which are way heavier than this setup. But a lot of reviews just complain about this major flaw, the ball head strength, and that it just cannot hold the camera up. And I had the same issue with the one I received. I tried it out with the M50 and there was just no way that you can hold it like that. It just immediately flops down, just flops around, and that just basically makes it unusable. Even if you put it down and it's just slightly angled, you want to film a little downwards. No, it even falls over here. So you might go with one of the branded ones, but as I said before, it's probably really a lottery if you get a good one or not. And the Manfrotto Pixie and the Joby Handypod both claim to can handle a payload of 2.2 pounds. And with this, it's 700 grams, so we're really about 1.5 pounds. So it's way below the payload that they advertise. However, my recommendation below $20 is this one, the Benro PP1 mini tripod. I went to B&H Photo in Manhattan, which is an amazing camera store. They have all kinds of stuff. They have a huge table full of tripods, mini tripods. And I tried the Joby one, the Manfrotto one, and I found this one, which I have not heard about until that point. And it just turned out to be the best one because the ball head mechanism is not this one button quick release thing, but it's a twist mechanism which you tighten with your body strength. And I can tell you this is so much stronger once it is in place than the other ones. Like, there is no give here. It's not gonna move. However, it comes with a small disadvantage. If you just quickly want to adjust the camera angle, I should have really gotten rid of the strap before, you have to unscrew it, untighten it. And if you're standing and filming, it's a little hard to do because if you untighten it and you have it like this, the camera just flops around and then you have to get it kind of in place or have it dangling down. It's very loose at that moment, but then once you tighten it, give it a little twist, and it stays there. And that is the one big factor which makes this thing usable. It's still a little annoying to adjust, but in my mind, this is usable, whereas these are not. So Benro actually claims to be able to handle a payload up to 3.3 pounds. And this is the only tripod where I believe that. It's just so sturdy. I cannot move it in my hand when I tighten it. It also feels pretty well built. So below $20 against the Manfrotto and the Joby versions, I would definitely recommend you to get this one instead. I also wanted to do a little quick tip. If you are just looking for a grip for something small, like a GoPro or your phone, I absolutely love this little thing. And this again is produced by many manufacturers. Mine is from Ulanzi. There are other ones from Andover, and this is below $10. If you, for example, have a GoPro and you don't want to hold the camera by itself because you're covering the microphones or just want something better to hold on to, I love this little thing. Look at that. It's such a small rig. It's just a grip. And for small and light cameras, this is absolutely amazing. I love this thing. I only use it with my GoPro, but I think it should be fine for a phone too if you do not want to attach further things. It does not have a ball head, but you can even put it down in some places. It's pretty wobbly. But again, the GoPro weighs about 120 grams and it's good enough for that. And this thing fits in every pocket. So as a conclusion, I think by 2020, the market has some great alternatives to the Joby Gorillapod series. And if you don't need the bendiness, I really would suggest you go with a non-bendy mini tripod like that. And this is my go-to recommendation right now, the Benro PP1. If you think you would attach your camera a lot to railings, to trees or whatever, you can go with a cheaper one like this. It is not as great, it doesn't feel as sturdy as this one, but if you need the bendiness, this will do the job for below $20 too. And if you're looking to spend more money, there are great options out there too, like the Sirui 3T35 mini tripod, which has awesome build quality, or the new switch pod plus an additional ball head. But those more expensive options also tend to get a lot heavier, a lot bulkier, a lot bigger than any of these.